So I'm sure we've all experienced this at some point, having no idea which path to take. There's too many options, or we feel like we don't have options. Or what if I go down this path and it's not the right one? What if I make the wrong choice? What if I think I'm making the right choice and I go down this path and it's not the wrong choice? It doesn't turn up the way that I thought it was going to be. And I'm so afraid of making a choice. I'm paralyzed from being able to make a decision about a path because there's too many paths. Do you ever feel that way? I'm Shanila. I'm the founder of Flow Breathwork Facilitator Training, and I mentor aspiring healers. And I'm sure that all of us at some point in our life has been faced with too many options, too many choices, and we're just kind of in this paralyzed energy. We can't even make a choice, even if it feels like it's a non-consequential choice or it's a really simple thing for us to do. We can't even make it because there's so much weight to that choice. Yeah. And in psychology, there's actually something known as choice paralysis. And it basically means that when you have too many choices, you're likely to not be able to make a choice because you're overwhelmed by all the different options that you have. And it's kind of like, say you're going into a grocery store and there's like 100 different types of water to buy or 100 different types of cereal to buy, and you're just like, what's the difference between this thing and this thing? And it's such a subtle difference, and there's just like one little ingredient, and sometimes it's not even a difference in the ingredient or the box. It's basically just like a different label. It's the same thing in a different label, and you're here having to pick and make choices depending on the price and depending on this ingredient and this quality and this size. There's so many different things to consider, to the point where you're like, I'll just stick to what I know. I'm just gonna grab the thing that I typically do. I don't care if it's the best one. I don't care if it's the wisest choice. I don't care, right? Like, I'm just overwhelmed in making a choice, so I'm just gonna make the choice that I'm used to. And that happens to us in our day-to-day life, especially when we're facing with, making changes in our career, or we're making changes in, we're just starting a new chapter. We're feeling like we're leaving something. We're beginning a new chapter. We're beginning a new thing. And instead of feeling excited and thrilled and energized by the fact that it's like, cool, it's so cool that we have like 1 billion different waters to choose from, or a different, all these different cereals to choose from, instead of feeling very excited about the plethora of choices that we have, we tend to feel the other way. We feel paranoid. We feel paralyzed. We feel, right, like we can't make a choice because what if I'm making the wrong choice and like it's gonna come back and bite me in the butt later on. Yeah, you feel that sometime? So you know what? Here's the thing about making choices is that we never get good at making any kind of decisions for ourselves if we don't practice making decisions for ourselves. And it's like, yeah, sometimes you have to buy some nasty stuff, like nasty cereal, and be like, this really makes my stomach turn, or this was like not a good financial decision, or this one, I just learned that I don't like raisins, or I really do love raisins, or I really do like this or that ingredient. Sometimes you can't make a choice because you haven't made enough choices. Right? And that's the conundrum, because part of you developing your intuition about what paths to take and which one to take, there will never be a right answer. And that's the short version of everything. It's like, I don't know, right? Like, who am I to tell you what path you're meant to be on and what path I'm meant to be on? It's just about following these intuitive hits, these small amounts of clues that are being left for us. So if you start to notice there's things that you want to do, go ahead and make a choice around it. Yeah, kind of inconsequential, like don't hurt yourself and don't make it like a life or death situation, but try making choices for yourself that are aligned with the things that you want to be able to do in your life. So the type of freedom that you want to have, the type of income that you want to have, the type of lifestyle that you want to lead, the type of people that you want to, have surround you, and the type of support that you want to have, the type of conversations that you want to be able to have. Start to follow these intuitive breadcrumbs, right? And it's like, yeah, the universe is always breadcrumbing you. And if we're talking about a narcissist, that's not a good thing. But if we're talking about the universe, right? The universe is working with you, and it's giving you like these opportunities for choices. And the thing is, when we put so much weight on a choice, we take away our power of that choice. We say like, oh, if I'm going to select this water from this grocery aisle, this is the most consequential water that I'm going to select. And if I drink this water and it's not the right water, then I'm poisoned for the rest of my life. It's like, yeah, maybe you drink some water that doesn't taste that great. And maybe you drink some water that has like something that's incompatible with your body, or it doesn't, right? Like you might pick something that's just not the best, and next time you just won't make that choice for yourself. But if if you don't choose ever, if you don't make any kind of choices, you're actually harming yourself from being able to be aligned in your path. And all these micro decisions that you ever make isn't like as important as we think they are. And at the same time, they're what creates importance in our life. All these little choices add up over time. It compounds over time. So every time you make a little choice for yourself that you feel like, oh my God, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to sign up for this thing, or I'm going to hang out with these people, or I'm going to not sign up for this thing and I'm not going to hang out with these people. Every time you're getting a little bit more aligned with what you believe is your path. Right? And then I love this little line in Alice in Wonderland where Alice is like going down her path, and she comes to the Cheshire Cat, and she asks the Cheshire Cat for direction. She's like, which way do I go? You know, she's like, which way? She's at the fork of the road and she's deciding, does she go down this way or does she go down that way? And the Cheshire Cat's like, well, where are you going? And she's like, I don't know. And the Cheshire Cat says, well, it doesn't matter then which path you take, because neither of them will take you to where you're going or not where you're going, right? And that's the thing. It's like, if we don't really necessarily understand where it is that we're going, and this where changes throughout our life, it's not always the same. It's not always the same destination. We evolve and we grow and we have different desires. We change in our vibrations. We have different perspective. All the different things happen in life where we have a different opinion on where it is that we think we're going. And so that destination always changes, and the path to it will always change depending on where it is that we're going and where we're not going. And I know that's not comforting, but I hope it's liberating, right? It's like there's some kind of liberation in knowing that it like literally doesn't matter what path that you take, because every time you have the permission to change your mind. Every time you have the permission to adjust and adapt and shift your destination. And I don't mean like being wishy-washy and always like having somewhere else to go. That's a different vibe. That's a different type of energy. That's not what we're talking about. But there is also this vibration of you know, getting to know yourself. And in this moment in time, with the information that you have about yourself, you're going to be making specific decisions. You're going to be making certain types of decisions that you 10 years from now is not going to be making. You might be making different decisions then, because you're a different person then. And you 10 years ago or 3 years ago or even 6 months ago would have been making different decisions that you right here are not making, right, for yourself. So here's the liberating part of it, that anytime you're faced with so many options, instead of feeling that overwhelm and feeling that paranoia of like, oh, did I pick the right one? I get it. It's always going to be part of that. You're always going to feel like a little tingly in your body, like when you make a choice for yourself, especially if you feel like it has so much power and so much weight and it has the capacity to like totally shift and change your life. Think of this as an opportunity for choice. You have this beautiful place where you get to play with different choices. You get to play with different pathways. You get to play with different, outcomes. And that's the playground that you live in. You get to experiment with the character that you want to be. And every time you make a little bit of a different choice, even if you double down on a choice that, you previously made and you really loved for yourself, every time you double down on that, you just get a little bit closer to whatever the heck you think a path is. You just get a little bit more aligned with it. And the energetics in your body begins to practice its muscle. You get to practice your intuition. You get to practice being in aligned with your path. Well, I hope this message helped you. Go ahead and subscribe and do all the things. And friends, remember, the world is your playground, and I will catch you next time.